Olivia from the Ida Public Library, and today we're going to be doing a mushroom forest in a jar craft. So in your kit, you're going to have a jar, you're going to have some styrofoam, you're going to have a little stick of clay. Yours may be a different color than mine. You'll have 3 toothpicks, an assortment of little sticks, just from regular old sticks. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to break up our sticks if we have to. Mine are already pretty small, so they're fine. Break them up so that they will fit inside the jar. Next, we're going to want to cut out a piece of styrofoam that is going to be small enough to fit into the bottom of the jar. This is going to be our base. Be careful with this part. This part, you're going to be using something very sharp to get these parts off. But yeah, you'll just want a sort of thin slice. Cut to the size of your jar so that we can glue it down to the bottom with our hot glue. So once you've got that little piece cut out, we're going to glue it inside of our jar. You're going to see in this video that I just go ahead and stick it straight in there, and then it kind of shakes around a little bit. You'll probably want to heat up your hot glue first, and then put a little bit on the bottom and stick it in there. But I did not get it in there. Since it's styrofoam, you should be able to pull it back out if you do the same thing that I do. But just go ahead and put just a little bit of hot glue at the bottom of your styrofoam bit and just press it down to the bottom of your jar. You don't need it to be super sturdy. You're not going to be throwing this thing around. You just want it to stay put while you're gluing and sticking other things onto it. Once you've got it stuck in there, you can go ahead and cover it up however you'd like. You can put in some dirt, you can put in some sand. I decided I kind of liked the look of the styrofoam, and I crumpled up my extra little bits and stuck them in there to make it look a little bit like snow and snowdrifts. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to leave it looking like a snowy little forest. But again, you can cover it up with some sand, with some dirt from outside. Anything will do. You can even tear up some paper, some colored paper, make it look all fancy. Once you've got your base however you'd like it, go ahead and choose which things you'd like to stick in there. I really like the look of this fatter one that looks kind of like a broken a tree stump. And grab your clay and your toothpick. I'm going to make some large mushrooms, some fancy mushrooms. They're going to look bigger than my trees, so they're going to be really fantastical. The way that I'm going about making my mushrooms is I'm taking a little bit of my clay, rolling it out thin, and essentially just covering one of the toothpicks entirely with it in order to make it look like the stem of a mushroom, and also giving it some sturdiness. So I mean, just the clay by itself is going to sag over. So I'm covering a toothpick in clay and using that as the stem of my mushroom. Now for the cap of the mushroom, I'm not doing it super fancy. I'm just going to twist off a little piece of clay, roll it into a ball in my hands, and then just sort of shape it into a cap shape with my fingers. Once you have the whole cap rolled out, shaped, you can just kind of gently push it onto the top of the toothpick and kind of push the toothpick through it, so it's going to have a little bit more sturdiness. This clay should air dry over time, but if it stays soft for a while, you're going to want to make sure that it doesn't just sag right off of the toothpick. Now you're going to see here that my jar is a little too small for the size of the mushroom that I made, so my mushroom's kind of sticking out towards the top. That's okay. That's totally fine. Your jar might be a different size than mine. There are a couple different sizes of jars that are going into the different kits, so just change it as necessary. The second mushroom I made, I ended up snapping part of the top of the toothpick off and just using the bottom that still had the spiky tip so that I could make a slightly shorter mushroom. Now this is not the only way that you can make your mushrooms. I liked the big look of the big mushrooms, but if you want less of a fantastical look and more of like a natural look, one thing you can do is decorate your little bits of sticks. So I went ahead and I took some small tiny bits of clay, flattened it out, and curved it just a little bit to make it look a little bit like I believe they're called turkey tail mushrooms, which grow off the side of trees. You've probably seen them. They look a little bit like a little staircase. And I took some hot glue and glued it right on to one of my little stumps and made it look a little bit like those little tiny mushroom steps. So once I had that little setup, I went ahead and I took my bigger mushrooms out so that I had room to move in there with my stump. Just put a little glue on the bottom of my little fake stump and reached in there to stick it down before putting the mushrooms over the top of it. And that's pretty much it. You can customize this however you'd like, make whatever kind of mushrooms you'd like, use your sticks however you'd like. Your kits are also going to have a little bit of moss in them, a little bit of fake moss. I put a little bit in the back of mine to make it kind of look like a backdrop. You could use yours as maybe to make the forest floor, to cover up your styrofoam. However you think is going to make it look the best. You'll have different color clay, different type sticks. You can paint your clay. Whatever strikes your fancy, make it your own. If you like this craft and you made it yourself, please share your finished results in the comments. I would really love to see what you guys come up with the materials that you've been given. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in our next Teen Grab and Go craft next week. Or not next week, sorry, next month. All right, thank you. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.